All right, so I'm just going to take about 15 minutes quickly here and kind of walk you through how we think about location-based marketing and share with you some quick case studies of some of the kinds of work that we do. So we are the LBMA. Our Twitter is the LBMA, and my personal Twitter is up there as well, Asif R. Khan. Just quickly about the organization, we're just over 4.5 years in existence. We're a nonprofit industry trade group. We're headquartered in Toronto, where I'm based, but we operate globally, and we have physical operations chapters in 16 cities around the world, and growing rapidly. About 700 member companies. About 65% of the member base are actually directly on the brand side, the actual advertisers. A lot of retailers, restaurant chains, JCPenney, Target, Best Buy, McDonald's, etc. A lot of CPG as well. So we're helping educate them about what's going on in location-based marketing, best practices, and case studies, and so forth. And then obviously the rest are the technology companies providing location-based platforms. Just some of the members that we work with to give you a sense of the type of companies that belong to the LBMA. So our definition of location-based marketing is the intersection of people, places, and media. And we're very clear about that. We don't simply equate location just to mobile. Right? When we say people, places, and media, what we mean by that is we from a marketer's perspective, we want to understand where the customer or the prospect is, or maybe where they've been. And mobile can tell us that. But the next question that you should ask is, now that we know where they are, well, what media happens to be near them in that particular place? And that could be a billboard or radio or television or anything. Right? So all media can be location-based when we attribute the location data to it. And so when we look at this diagram, the inner circle, the orange one there, these are the most predominant technologies for determining location today. In North America, about 83% of all location services that we see are coming off of smartphones and apps. We're a very app-friendly nation here in the US. But in other parts of the world, it's much, much lower, where you have lower smartphone penetration. We see things where the carriers are getting involved and doing geo-targeted SMS. And so we use cell towers to triangulate position. And then when we get to indoor, where Wi-Fi and Bluetooth are starting, and beacons are resonating really well, because signal can be blocked from satellites and from other things when you're deep inside of a building. Again, we know location, then we ask what media is around it. That's the blue ring. And then the green ring being sort of the emerging mobile ecosystem around all of this. So in every one of those boxes, we have thousands and thousands of startups all coming out there saying they have a location-based payment platform, or an augmented reality solution, or a loyalty platform, or a coupon, or something, right? And these are all about location. In fact, 85% of all the data in the world that's generated today, based on a study we did with IBM last year, now has some location element to it. When you take a photo today, that photo has geotagged information as to where it was taken, latitude and longitude stamp along with the timestamp. When you update your status on Facebook, you're doing it from a place. Right? All of these things are location-based. And when we talk about big data, we talk about it in this 3V model, right? This cube model of volume, velocity, and variety. Volume being there's a lot of it, velocity being it's coming at us really fast, and in some cases near or real time. Things like Twitter, right? That's almost real-time data, right? And then we have the variety piece, where it's coming at us from so many different inputs and sensors, right? That smartphone that you have in your pocket isn't just a phone, right? It's got an accelerometer and a compass and a magnometer, and it has all these sensors that are generating data, and all of that is feeding information into this channel. So in 2012, I coined the term "location is the new cookie," which is what we're talking about today. And then Steve in the video from Foursquare stole my term, which is okay, I guess. But anyhow. This is how we look at location and what I mean by a cookie. So day in the life of an average consumer. You wake up in the morning, and before you even get out of bed, what do? You grab the phone or the tablet on the night table beside you, right? So you're in a location, you're in your home, but you're already connected to a device, to a type of media, right? Then you get ready for work and you hop in the car, right? And when you're in the car, your location's transient, and now the media might be radio that you're listening to, it might be the nav screen that you're communicating with, right? But your location has changed, the device has changed, right? We get to the office, you shift to your laptop or your desktop. In the middle of the afternoon, you walk across the street to the Starbucks. Now you got digital menu boards and screens talking to you, and you got a mobile device in your pocket. You get home at the end of the day and you got television, right? So what's happening is we're constantly shifting location, we're constantly shifting the device that we're connected to media with, and the type of media, right? But what can be traced across all of that is location data, right? And that's what we're suggesting is the new cookie, in a similar way that you have cookies in an online world. Okay, So I'm going to walk you through a couple quick examples of some of the cases that we've been involved in. And so when I say we, we're not just a regular industry association. Yes, we're a nonprofit. Yes, we're member-based. And yes, we publish research and case studies, and we're about education. But we also have a bit of sort of a, almost a, an agency creative bent to us as well. In the sense that what we do is my team, just like at Google, I send my guys off every week, and they sit in a room and take some time and just come up with ideas and concepts of what we can do with location data and how we can push the boundaries. And we'll approach our members, we'll approach the brands, we'll approach companies, and we'll create mashups of member companies to execute on these ideas. And we're doing them as a research project. There's no commercial aspects to these whatsoever. And so a lot of what you see here are things that we put together in that context. Top left, this is Domino's Pizza in the UK. This is, if you have the Domino's app, regular print ad on the side of a bus shelter, you hold your phone up over it, the ad pops out into augmented reality, and while you're waiting for the bus, you order your pizza, you pay for your pizza, and by the time you catch the bus and get home, the pizza's been delivered. So we have mobile being layered on top of traditional print media, via augmented reality, and tying those mediums together. On the bottom, similar kind of concept. This is a platform called Gold Run out of New York. They do a lot of work with the movie companies, and so this is the Smurfs movie. As you see here, they're creating experiences that are virtual, that aren't really there, visible in AR. On the right, this is the back of a New York subway pass. So if you have the Metro Pass to ride the subway, on the back of it, now you hold your phone over it with the smartphone app, and you see an augmented reality experience of art gallery and museum content from local galleries. So we're tying these things together. Number two, telematics and wearables. So this is a big trend that we're watching very closely right now. We do a lot of work in this industry in numerous ways, a lot of car companies and a lot of wearable companies. But top left, this is a partnership that we help broker between Placecast, which is powering a lot of the carrier location services out there, between Placecast and AHA Radio, which is part of Harman. And so what you have effectively is directly in the car nav system now, you have deal content, Groupon type content being pushed in to the car based on location, okay? And that's already commercially available today. On the bottom, this is Apple's new CarPlay technology that just launched 2 weeks ago. So the same functionality, the same flow and user flow that you have on an iPhone today is now you're gonna have that in the car nav screen, right? And you're gonna be able to do a lot of things with that. The car is a device just like your phone. And every car going out there is going to be connected and have Wi-Fi plans and LTE plans and all that kind of stuff associated with it. This Google Glass technology in the windshield of a car, and then obviously wearables that people are walking around all over the place with, feeding data in. I'll skip that. Indoor location, we do a ton of work in this space, in the beacon space, and in indoor in general. What's important to know here is that every retailer that we work with is testing this stuff right now. They're excited about it. They're excited about the analytics opportunity. They're excited about the ability to know that the consumer is standing in front of the Coke display in the grocery store right now, and that's when we're going to send them the offer for Pepsi. Right? That level of accuracy of location inside of a building is absolutely doable today. And there's a lot of advancements in technologies, not just Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Indoor Atlas is a company out of Finland that we work with, and they're using magnetic fields to figure out location. No hardware to install in a store whatsoever. I can talk about that later. And then IP. A lot of people, when you think about location, only think about bricks and mortar, but it works equally well online. As Aubriana will tell us later, but from a digital elements point of view, there's a lot you can do here. All right. Number 6, what I call the reinvention of search. So for anybody in here who does search engine optimization or spends money on search, get ready for a whole new way to do search, right? So 2 examples. This is Google Goggles, the predecessor to Glass technology. Or the software behind it. And so what you saw there in that quick little build is it's simply using what the camera is seeing from an image recognition perspective and combining that with the location of the phone to generate search results without me typing anything into the search engine. So it knows I'm not in Paris, it knows I'm in Las Vegas, and I'm standing in front of the Paris hotel, and generates relevant search results. On the right, this is Amazon Flow, which just launched a couple weeks ago. And if you have a chance to play with it, basically take a picture of anything, any object, and Amazon will search, come back to you with the best price, and you can buy it right there. Anything. Completely image-based. Okay, you don't type anything in. So this is what we got to get ready for. And it knows location. It can get the product to you, as fast as you want it. Number 7, this is a campaign we did this past summer in Toronto, where I'm based, for L'Oreal and specifically Lancôme. Where they sponsor a big art festival every year. It's called Luminato, 10 days, about 4 million people come through the festival to see art outdoors. And so they said, well, we want to activate our sponsorship dollars. We want to find a way to understand who's actually there on the ground. And so we created one of these mashups. We brought an AR company in, we brought an agency in, and we put this thing together. So, I mean, the cool thing about that was the consumers that were interacting with it on the ground had no idea that we were tracking the heat signatures, and the aggregate of that was going to, develop a heat map that looked like the brand's logo. So that's, I mean, it's taking AR and taking technology and pushing, what you can do with it. And lastly, I say location informs context, and we do a ton of work in this space. In 2012, we took a bus in New York City with a digital screen on the side of it that you see there on the left, and we didn't do any sort of predetermined ad buy at all. So what we did was when the bus stopped at a red light at an intersection, it was stationary, we gathered all the check-in data across 40 different platforms, Foursquare, Yelp, Google, everything. We built an aggregate demographic profile while the bus was stationary, and then we serve an ad in the side of the bus to reflect the people at the actual intersection. When the bus moved, we did it all over again. Right? So this is the power of what you can do with location data and the power of how we can change the way we buy advertising in the future. And that led to this new commercial offering that you see on the right, which is what's called Google Outside, that just launched in London. Again, this is transit shelter, digital screen on the side of a bus shelter, but now the ad, no predetermined ad buy again. Completely contextual based on location, time of day, weather, a whole bunch of things, decides what goes into that screen. And then the last thing I'll talk about, which is the one on the bottom left, is Pandora. So we do a lot of work with Pandora, and last year Pandora went out and bought a terrestrial radio station to get around the prohibitive rules that streaming radio have in terms of fees that they have to pay. And so they said, well, we'll just buy a regular radio station and we don't have to pay that anymore. And that worked. But we approached them again. One of my team came up with an idea. We went to them and said, well, you guys have a lot of data. And this was in Kansas City where they bought this station. We said, you have a lot of data from the Pandora side in terms of what people listen to and where they listen to it and what they download and all that kind of stuff, right? Wouldn't it be great if you could take that data and go to the terrestrial radio station you now own and give that data to the disc jockeys to change what they actually play on regular radio? It lifted ad revenue, like it was insane, right? So now they realize they're sitting on a resource, which is all this data that they have that they can go sell to all these other radio stations around the world. So there's a lot of things you can do like that. So that's my presentation. We're going to go to a panel. I'm going to invite the panelists to come up here.